Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the Educational AD Podcast. We're going to be right back with today's guest, but as always, we're going to give a shout out to our sponsors. Now, you've heard me say many times, these are all companies, only companies that I used as an athletic director. I really recommend you check them out. So take 3 minutes, listen to our shout outs, then listen to our interview, and then go and visit these sponsors. I'm telling you, you're going to be glad you did. Here we go. We want to say thanks to our good friends at Sideline Interactive Indoor Score Tables and Video Boards. You've heard me say that our Sideline Interactive Indoor Score Table was a game changer. It is, but you should also check out their video boards, both indoor and outdoor. It's a great way to showcase your student athletes and your sponsors. Go to sidelineinteractive.com. You can schedule a live web demo to see their score tables and their score boards, video boards in action. That's sidelineinteractive.com. We also want to say thanks to Huddle. As a football coach, I used Huddle for years. When I became an athletic director, I made sure that our school was a Huddle school. Our coaches, all of our coaches, just loved the tools that Huddle provided. Our student athletes loved the videos, and our parents loved the streaming, but there is so much more. Go to huddle.com. Join the 8 million users and find out how to turn your school into a Huddle school. We also want to say thank you to Home Campus. Home Campus is a platform you're going to use every single day, whether it's scheduling, rosters, results, communication. Their student athlete eligibility and clearance platform alone is worth the price. To get started, just go to homecampus.com. That's it, homecampus.com. We want to thank our good friends at Snap Raise. Have you ever spent weeks and weeks with a fundraiser and been disappointed in the results? Well, those days are gone. Go to snapraise.com. It's hands down the best online fundraiser out there. We used it at our school because it works. Go to snapraise.com. You can check out their other great platforms. But if you're looking for a fundraiser, you just found it. It's snapraise.com. We want to say thanks to Gipper. Go to Gipper.com. Their team will have you creating world-class social media content in seconds. That's where your kids are. Gipper's used and trusted by over 20,000 high school and college programs, and their team will have you creating social media posts to celebrate a big victory. They'll help you create an entire newsletter to share all the great things that your athletic department is doing, and so much more. Gipper is so easy to use, even I can do it. So go to Gipper.com. Don't forget to mention the podcast, Gipper.com. We also want to thank Vital Signs Wall of Fame. Looking for a cool way to display your school record board? Looking for a cool way to show off your school's Hall of Fame? Well, go to Vital Signs Wall of Fame and take a look at their interactive touch screen video consoles. Whether it's a floor mount or wall mount, these video boards, again, touchscreen, are a great way to share your school's unique history and brag a little bit about your proudest moments. The website is vitalsignswalloffame.com. Check them out today. We'd also like to say thank you to Hometown Ticketing, the leading digital ticketing provider to schools and colleges. Go to hometownticketing.com. Whether it's more support, more security, or more customization, the Hometown team is going to help you make the best online ticketing solution. That's hometownticketing.com. And we'd like to thank Ohio University and their online masters in athletic administration. My assistant athletic director, along with thousands of others, got his master's in athletic administration through the Ohio program. And it was great. It's very affordable, just 20 months, totally online. And while he was earning his master's, he also completed 11 NIAAA leadership training courses at no extra charge. Go to ohio.edu/info/MAA. And we want to thank Athletic Surveys by LifeTrack. Athletic directors already get feedback, but a lot of times it's from a small group that just wants to complain. Athletic Surveys is going to connect you to that group so you can hear their concerns, hopefully address them. But they're also going to connect you to the 98% of your stakeholders that support your program. And having that type of data is incredibly valuable, especially when you're visiting with a frustrated parent, or maybe your principal, or even your school board. Go to athleticsurveys.com They're going to create a custom survey that lets you take the pulse of everybody in your program. That's athleticsurveys.com. We'll be right back with today's guest, so please stay with us. Welcome back, everybody, to another segment of the Educational AD Podcast. We're going to Pennsylvania today, and we're going to be visiting with Korie Morton-Rozier. She's got an incredible background in athletics. She's currently the director of athletics at Oakland Catholic High School. Like I said, that's in Pennsylvania. Korie, welcome to the Educational AD Podcast.
Thank you very much. Very happy to be here.
Well, for our listeners, we're recording this kind of on the eve of the national conference, December 12th. So as you're listening to it, hopefully you're in Austin. But if you're not, the information is going to be pretty timely. Korie, we always like to let our listeners have a chance to get to know our guests. So give us that quick bio, where you were born, where you grew up. Maybe take us up through your own college days, and then we'll take a break. But what's the Korie Morton-Rozier story?
Well, athletics has been a forever story in my family. My father, was a grew up in Pittsburgh. Everybody's from Pittsburgh. My father was a local high school, football hero. He went on to actually play Major League Baseball back years ago. But football was his passion. So we grew up on the football field as he coached actually Central Catholic down the street, my sister and I, and we were just around athletics. So basketball was my passion. I just fell in love with the sport. I excelled in high school at Woodland Hills High School, where I am still the all-time leading scorer, which is awesome. And I have to say, between boys and girls. And we won the Whitfield Championship, went to the state championship. I received a Division I scholarship to Robert Morris University, where I played for about a year, got some injuries, transferred to Edinboro University, where I finished out my career. There I fell in love. I actually tore 3 ACLs in college. But that's where I actually fell in love with the whole athletic realm of college education. I had a AD by the name of Bruce Baumgartner, who was like a 3-time Olympic gold medalist in wrestling. But he kind of showed me the way of, in the athletic department at Edinboro University, which was awesome. So when I came back from Edinboro, I became the head basketball coach at Woodland Hills High School, where I was my alma mater, and I became the assistant AD there. So that was fun. I got to give back to the community that I love so much. And, from there, I helped out all the sports. Coach Novak was the head football coach there, who is a legendary coach around the Pennsylvania area. At Woodland Hills, we had multiple Division I football players, as well as I did on the basketball team there. And then after that, I ended up going to Penn State branch campus, Greater Allegheny, and became the head AD there. And I was there for about 9 years. Sorry.
No, you go ahead. Yeah.
Okay. No, I was just going to say, so I was there for 9 years, and then I went to Ringgold for 2, and then I'm now at Oakland Catholic.
Okay. We're going to dive into your career in our next segment. I want to go all the way back to, growing up. Was it, suburbs? Was it, inner city? Did you have a basketball hoop out in the street or in the cul-de-sac? What was that like for you growing up?
Well, I mean, girls basketball was really starting to boom around the early 90s. I played a lot with a lot of the boys all through the area. It was right outside the city of Pittsburgh. So it's like the Braddock, Rankin, Swissvale, Churchill, Wilkins Township area. It's a big merger of a lot of schools at one point is what created like the Woodland Hills School District. So we had all different types of people, all different type of beliefs, which was kind of really cool to go through a high school like that. But athletics was a huge part of the high school experience there. So, I mean, the boys, the football team, the girls basketball team, we were all constantly together. It just made it into a really, really cool experience. And I think that's why I love athletics so much.
Now, you mentioned obviously basketball. Did you do other sports when you were in high school, or was that just you were just laser focused on becoming the best basketball player you could?
Oh no, my sister, myself, we all played 3 different sports. I played volleyball for 1 year. I did soccer the rest of my career in the high school level. It was just a great experience. I mean, we tried to stay busy, obviously, to stay, keep it narrow on grades. But basketball, we just started doing AAU in the spring, and that's like when all that really started getting bigger, to where it was much more time consuming than when I first started.
You mentioned, playing basketball, playing, with and against boys and things like that. When did you really come to that realization? Hey, I'm a pretty good basketball player. I could play, I could start for the varsity or I could play college. Was there a moment for you where that kind of came together?
I think in gym class, to be honest, when the football team, when some of the boys picked me up before the other boys, I was like, I've made it, because like I said, there were some big kids that I went to school with that were very athletic. And when you got that respect from the community and you get that respect from other coaches and you get that respect from even your peers, I think you kind of feel like you're doing well in your sport.
Oh no, absolutely. And I can remember, like it was yesterday, we had a couple of girls in my high school. This is 100 years ago, back in the 70s, but they were basketball players and they would get picked, particularly in junior high. They would sometimes get picked before some of the guys. So very
Yeah.
good. Um, when you got to college, and again, these are my words, were you the hotshot freshman that just came in and took everybody by storm, or was it a challenge for you to compete at the next level? What are your memories of that?
Well, I mean, I thought I was the hot shot freshman, but I ended up tearing the ACL, so I can't really even describe how that whole first year went. That's when I ended up transferring because in those days you couldn't transfer; you had to go D1 to D2 to get years back and that kind of thing. So, I went to Edinburgh though after that and had a great career for 2 years until I tore another ACL. So, um, yeah, I mean, it was a great experience. I got my education. I got to meet great people. I didn't have that great player experience, but I also think that's what kind of made me into a better coach and
Mm.
actually a better AD because I can sympathize when people have injuries and I kind of know what they're going through.
Oh no, absolutely. I can attest to that myself. Okay, last question, then we're going to take a break. Um, Looking at your game, okay, when you were at your peak, okay, physically, skill wise, okay, were you WNBA material?
No, never fast enough. I can shoot good enough, never fast enough.
Hey, you give it that right group, they find you on the wing, you'd bury that
Hey,
jumper
well,
shot.
that's the case, but yeah, I can't say speed was one of my one of my strongest points, but I could definitely shoot.
All right. Well, I always tell people that injuries and a lack of talent kept me out of the NFL. So it's
There you go.
let's go and take our first break. Our guest today is Korie Morton-Rozier, currently the athletic director at Oakland Catholic High School. We're coming back with more, so please stay with us. This is the Educational AD Podcast. We'd like to thank Sideline Interactive indoor score tables and video boards for their support of the podcast. Go to sidelineinteractive.com and you can schedule a live web demo to see their score tables and their score boards in action. Probably one of the best purchases I ever made as an athletic director was our Sideline Interactive indoor score table. You also want to check out those video boards. They can really be a game changer for your student athlete experience. That's sidelineinteractive.com. We also want to thank our friends at Huddle. As a football coach, I used Huddle for years, but when I became an athletic director, I made sure that our school was a Huddle school. And our coaches, all of our coaches, just loved the tools that Huddle provided. Our student athletes loved the videos, and our parents loved the streaming, but there's so much more. Go to huddle.com, join the 8 million users, and turn your school into a Huddle school.
I would definitely like to give a shout out to Huddle here at Oakland Catholic. We use Huddle for all of our sports, and we think it's a great tool for the student athletes as well as the coaches.
Oh, well, gosh, thanks for saying that. Now, you heard me say, I knew about Huddle as a football coach. I was
Right.
kind of concerned if the other coaches, would like it. And of course, they just loved it. What was your experience, with Huddle prior to bringing it on board as an athletic director?
Well, here in Western PA, the WPIAL, we kind of require it for a lot of sports so we can do easy film exchange. We break down films with the student athletes. I mean, we send film to college coaches. Now we're uploading it on Twitter, so we use Huddle a lot.
Oh, well, guys, again, thanks so much for sharing that. I'm glad you're having
Uh-huh.
a good experience. For our listeners, our guest today is Korie Morton-Rozier. She's the athletic director at Oakland Catholic High School. Korie, you shared a little bit about some of your stops post college. I think it's important for our listeners to hear about the journey that we all take. So, kind of review that again. Then I want to take a deeper dive. What were some of your stops right out of college?
Well, I did my master's at Ohio State. I'm sorry, Ohio University. I did my master's. I love that program. That was probably the program that really pushed me into understanding what an AD was supposed to do and be. Like, it's not just a coach that's there. I mean, you are taking care of a lot of situations. It's never a boring day as an athletic director, as I'm sure you know. And I mean, I really, really enjoyed my time at Ohio University.
Well, let's go ahead and do that segment next. Again, listeners know Ohio University is one of our sponsors. My assistant athletic director got his master's from Ohio. And again, it was just a great experience.
Mhm.
Korie, there's a lot of great programs out there. What made you choose the Ohio University Online Masters for your athletic administration
I
experience?
think I think that at that time, and I believe this is correct, that it's one of the oldest institutions that have had athletic administration. I know when I worked at Penn State, there were a number of athletic directors that went through that program. So Bobcats, was a normal name that went around through Penn State. So it's just a very good program, very well known, and it meant something on your resume. So that's why I decided to go there.
As you got into the courses
Mhm.
and let's say the minutia of the degree, and I know this wasn't just yesterday you did this; it was a while back. But what were some of those memories that came back? Like wow, this is I can't wait to do more, or I didn't realize this was part of being an AD.
Well, I love the school, um, like the school law that came along with it. That was something different that we had that I've, really never studied before when it came to being an athletic director. They had us doing role situations. I did the online course, which
Right.
was great because I was pregnant with twins at the time. So so all in all, it went really well with my, what was going on in my life. Um, but yeah, I think things I learned there I still use. I came up with a coach's mentorship during that program, and I use that now where I'm at. So there are things that you actually did in that class that would prepare you and stay with you as your career goes on.
Well, that was going to be my next question. Can you think of something, straight out of the coursework that you used? I know the folks at Ohio, and this is something that Mark, my assistant AD, who went through the experience, really stressed that the connections and the networking opportunities that were created through the Ohio program really stuck out for him. Did you have that same experience?
Well, yeah, like I said, I mean, there were a number of people in the athletic world. So when I was at the branch campus at Penn State, a lot of the people at the main Penn State campus went through that program and we all talked about it. So yeah, and then we had some, I think there was a professor that went through that program back when I was a student that was a assistant or head athletic director at one of like at Penn State, Maine. So they're definitely networking with that program. Yes.
Well, again, that's one of the segments that we do when we have a guest who went to Ohio University. Appreciate you sharing that.
Mhm.
Um, at Since you did it on the front end, you went straight undergrad into masters. Do you feel that that was something as you started to apply for different jobs that would come up in the interview that helped, let's say, seal the deal?
Oh, yes, definitely. I mean, to be honest, you couldn't get an AD interview over here in Pittsburgh or around Pennsylvania without having a quality master's program. it is something that the boards want to see, as well as I'm sure the community when they're hiring somebody. So that definitely it gave me a little above the rest. Yes.
Yeah. Well, again, we appreciate you sharing that. For our listeners, if
Mhm.
you are looking for a master's in athletic administration, check out Ohio University. All you have to do is go to ohio.edu/info/MAA. And, Aaron Wright or any of the great folks at Ohio University will help you out. And they're going to be at the NADC. So if you're listening to this, on Monday when it airs, go back to the convention center, find the Ohio University booth, and introduce yourself. Korie, thanks for sharing. We're going to take a break. And when we come back, we're going to pick up postmasters and have you talk about that journey that we all take. So, listeners, please stay with us. We're coming back with more. This is the Educational AD Podcast. We want to say thanks to our good friends at Home Campus for their support. Home Campus is a platform that you're going to use every single day. Things like scheduling, rosters, results. Their student athlete eligibility and clearance platform alone is worth the price. To get started, just go to homecampus.com. That's it, homecampus.com. We also want to say thanks to Snap Raise. Have you ever spent weeks and weeks with a fundraiser and then been disappointed in the results? Well, those days are gone. Go to snapraise.com. It's hands down the best online fundraiser out there. We used it at our school with great success. Our coaches loved it. Our parents loved it because it works. Go to snapraise.com. You can check out their other great platforms. But if you're looking for a fundraiser, you just found it. Go to snapraise.com. And you just heard Korie talk about the Ohio University Online Masters. Now, again, I didn't get my master's at Ohio University, but my assistant AD did, and it was a great experience. It's very affordable, just 20 months, totally online. And while you're earning your master's degree, you're also completing 11 NIAAA leadership training courses at no extra charge. For more information, just go to ohio.edu/info/MAA, the Ohio University Online Masters in Athletic Administration. Welcome back, everybody, to the Educational AD Podcast. Once again, our guest is Korie Morton-Rozier. She's the athletic director at Oakland Catholic. Korie, you just did a great job. Thanks again for sharing your experience with the Ohio University Online Masters. Um, the journey. I say this all the time. Very few of us get to start at our dream job right out of college. I don't know what that dream job is, but usually there's a few stops along the way. So, what were some of your stops that have now brought you to Oakland Catholic?
Right out of college, I came back to my alma mater, which is Woodland Hills High School, located in Pittsburgh. There I was the girls' basketball coach, and there the athletic director and the football coach, George Novak, created a position for me as the assistant AD. We had like 84 sports back then. It was a very, very big high school. Lots of sports. I mean, this is back when you had a ninth grade football team, a 10th grade football team, a JV football team, a varsity football team, So it was a very busy job, but I learned so much there. It was a rough community. But I will tell you that athletics put that community together. It meant the world to that community and school district is, all of the athletics, anywhere from football to basketball to baseball to even swimming. We had a rifle team before that was a common thing. So, it was a big deal. It was a big identity for that school. I love coaching there. I had a number of Division 1, Division 2, Division 3 girls. I had a number of girls go to college and become successful that, maybe without athletics wouldn't have happened. Um, then after that, probably 9 years there, I ended up getting the job at the Penn State branch campus, which is located in McKeesport, Pennsylvania. Um, at that time, the branch campus, was booming. This was pre-COVID, and we had great, great athletic teams. That Penn State system is amazing. There's 20 branch campuses, and there's I think like 76,000 kids in that college, all the programs put together. It is humongous. So I was there for 9 years. Um, After COVID, numbers went down and I got a little nervous because I had some kids. So then I ended up going to Ringgold High School, which is another large high school in Monongahela, Pennsylvania, which is right outside of Pittsburgh. I was there for about 2 years, and then this Oakland Catholic job opened, and this is one of the jobs I've always wanted. It's an all-girls Catholic school located in the city of Pittsburgh, in Oakland Catholic, in Oakland City. It is an amazing school district. Great kids. Everybody here is driven. The athletics are great here. There's been a number of amazing girls basketball teams, soccer teams, field hockey teams. And to be honest, what I'm most excited about is I have fencing. I've never had fencing before. So I'm I'm extremely excited to learn something new and be a part of something new and growing. So we have fencing and crew. So we have sports that I didn't have other places too.
Oh wow, that
Mhm.
sounds exciting. I've been an AD at a school that did have crew. Never had. Well, no, I take that back. Whoa, a long time ago. We had fencing as a club. That was
Uh-huh.
96. Wow, that was a long time ago. Um, you mentioned that the program has had a lot of success. Now, you're certainly at that point when you came to Oakland Catholic. You're not a rookie administrator.
Right.
What were some of the things that you wanted to do coming in um, as an athletic director? But what were some things that you did to, I guess, start building that connection, that relationship with kids as well as coaches?
Well, I think being available, being at things. I go everywhere. I mean, we just had a girls basketball game last night away. I was there, talking to the parents, making sure I'm seen in the hallways. We moved our office so that we're more where the student body is because we want them to stop in and see us. We're putting up pictures all over the campus, of just trying to do some new things to brighten it up and know that, we're here for them. Definitely talking to the student athletes when we see them in the senior lounge or, just trying to get to know everybody. I've only been here a couple months, but I started some new systems, a new system for scheduling. So it's a nicer platform for the student athletes. So, and I'm big in social media, so we're doing a lot more social media work for the programs, getting it out there.
Oh, well, that's cool. Now, most of my career in Florida was athletic director at private or independent schools. And we all know that sometimes, the clientele, the parents, I'm sure not at your school, there can be a feeling of entitlement. How do you approach that, whether it's with a kid or with a parent? How do you get those parents to see the vision and become, let's say, more of a team player than they might be naturally inclined to?
Well, I will tell you, I am an honest person and I stick to my guns. So when I say something, I mean it. But the ease, I always figure out how to make that connection work. So um if a parent is mad about playing time, and I think hiring good coaches is really
Mhm.
what makes it easy. And I think right now we have excellent coaches here. So that really takes a lot of burden off of me because when the coaches are honest to the kids, that helps me be honest to the parents. And I think if we're all on the same page, it does seem to fix itself.
Oh, you're absolutely right, and I share that quite frequently. You as an AD, you can have, your philosophy and your mission and all that, but if your coaches are not following through, your phone's going to be ringing, or people are going to be knocking on your office door. Yeah, absolutely. You got to have those coaches on board. I use the expression, when that coach goes rogue, it's not good for anybody.
No, no, not at all.
Um, as you have had a chance to look at the program and kind of get a feel for Oakland Catholic, um, what's an area, and again, this is in a very positive way, what's an area that you say, hey, we're doing this really good, but because you are coming in with, excuse me, fresh eyes, you can see potential. Wow, we could do this even better. Has anything like that gotten on your radar yet?
Well, I will tell you, facilities is a problem here because we're in the middle of the city. So having facilities, renting facilities, using facilities is a problem. So I myself and the coaches are constantly trying to figure out what is the best way to have some consistency for the kids and the parents of practice without jumping from, a different soccer field every other day or changing times. So my biggest not issue, but my biggest problem to solve here is that trying to find a place we can call home for some of our outdoor sports because we do not have a actual facility. They got soccer facility for just Oakland Catholic.
Okay, I'll be honest. I haven't gone to look at your school's website yet. When you mentioned crew, I'm thinking, well, gosh, this is going to be a park-like setting. They're right next to a river. Yeah. So, what do you have? Let's share. What do you have on campus that
Oh,
you
we
can
have a
use?
gym, and we have two gyms. They're very nice, but we do not have any fields. And we're like when I say we're in the city, we are in a city in the corner of a block that is we're landlocked. There's nothing around. So that's why the president and myself have had numerous talks of trying to figure something out so that we can get these kids a place to call home.
Oh, wow. Well,
Mm.
all the best with that. Korie, we're going to do this at the end of the podcast, but if one of our listeners wanted to reach out, pick your brain a little bit, or just add you to their network, we were just talking about networking, what's the best way that our listeners can get a hold of Korie Morton-Rozier?
I mean, my email is long. It is KMORTRO, I'm sorry, MORTON-ROZIER at oaklandcatholic.org, or I'm on LinkedIn as well.
Okay. And I think that's how you and I connected, was
Yep,
on
LinkedIn.
LinkedIn. Okay. Again, we'll give that information out at the end of the podcast. Let's go and take another quick break, but we're coming back with more. So please stay with us. This is the Educational AD Podcast. We also want to thank our good friends at Hometown Ticketing. Hometown is the leading digital ticketing provider to schools and colleges. And whether it's more support, more security, or more customization, the team at Hometown is going to help you make the best online ticketing solution for your school and your program. Go to hometownticketing.com. It's digital ticketing that offers more. We also want to say thank you to our good friends at Vital Signs Wall of Fame. If you're looking for a really cool way to display your school record boards or your school's Hall of Fame, go to Vital Signs Wall of Fame and take a look at their interactive touch screen, that's right, touch screen video consoles. It's also a great way to show off your school's unique history and brag a little bit about your proudest moments. The website is vitalsignswalloffame.com. Check them out today. And we want to thank Gipper. Your students are on social media, and if they're not seeing content that celebrates their accomplishments and promotes your program, you're missing out on a great opportunity. Go to Gipper.com. It's used and trusted by over 20,000 high school and college programs across the country. And the Gipper team is going to have you creating world-class content in seconds, whether it's a social media post celebrating a victory or a newsletter that's sharing all the great things your program does with your community. Gipper is so easy to use, even I can use it. Go to Gipper.com to get started. That's Gipper.com. Welcome back, everybody. We're visiting again with Korie Morton-Rozier. She's a certified athletic administrator, and she's the director of athletics at Oakland Catholic. Korie, you and I were talking during the break, and sportsmanship. I think it's always should be, and I think it is always at the top of any athletic director's list. Recently, we've seen some, let's say, less than stellar sportsmanship efforts centered around this idea of flag planting and, oh, they disrespected us and other sorts of nonsense. What are your thoughts on sportsmanship, the high school student athlete experience? What can you share with our listeners?
Well, I would say to me, sportsmanship is number one. I do believe athletics is a privilege and not a right. And with that right, you have a lot of responsibilities and people look up to you. I mean, there are a number of high school athletes that little kids look up to around this area, I'm sure, as well as other areas. And sportsmanship, I mean, that's not just on the court, that's at a restaurant, in the hallway, using the bathroom before a game, standing in line. I mean, I tell my athletes they are being watched as a job interview every time they see somebody the first time. So they need to really understand that how they conduct themselves on the court or field is just the most important thing that they can do. Even just getting frustrated, there are girls that miss shots that put their hands on their head and then they pout. Like those type of things we definitely, notice and we tell them, you never know who's watching you in the stands. So you have to really always keep that even keel about yourself, never let anything get to you. And if people are talking to you on the court, you gotta learn to ignore it. Smile, nod, do whatever you need to do, but just move past it because it goes away after a while. I am not a big fan of flag planting at all. I think the old way of just shaking some hands and walking off, my father being a football coach, act like you've been there before. That is what I believe.
Yeah, we've talked about this on some other shows. When I was coaching football, flag planting, it wasn't a thing. And
Hmm.
I would always, let our kids know. And again, it's not something you say, with 30 seconds left in the game. You talk about this, you walk the walk the entire season. I would let them know, hey, when we win. We're going to celebrate with our team. We're going to celebrate with our fans. We're not going to, after the handshake, hey, we're not going to have anything to do with that other team. Let them go do their whatever. And the same thing when we lose. We're going to shake our hands and we're going to come together as a team. All the comments about the losing players. Oh, they're disrespecting us by planting a flag. Hey, they just disrespected you for an hour during the game. Okay, you
Yeah.
had your chance for respect, if that's what you want to call it. Now you're gonna fight them. Um, what are some things that you do? Again, the philosophy, the daily encouragement and practice, games, etc. This is who we are. This is how we roll. What are some things that you've done as an athletic director, as a coach with your team? We hear the word about being intentional. What have you done intentionally to help teach and model great sportsmanship?
At all the places I've ever been, we always had a preseason meeting. There we would discuss what's appropriate, what is acceptable, what is not. Um, Also, I mean, you have to lead by example too. I can't get frustrated. The coaches can't get frustrated because I do believe student athletes act like their coaches do sometimes. They take on that personality. So you got to make sure your coaches have that same uh, belief that you do, which is, I think, part of when you hire them. I also can tell you that I do a lot of game situation where, like, I strategically put teams where after a handshake line, they're not going to recross, on either side of the bench. Like, I have exits for each team. I make sure they don't see each other in hallways after a game. I've had a lot of, issues over my time with just them going down the same hallway after a game and then, words get said. So I strategically try to make sure that my teams, once the hand line is over, there's no more seeing each other. Um, I make sure the other team has an exit out the back door where they don't have to come through the front. We do all those things as athletic directors to try to keep any drama or or problems, away from the normal seeing eye would not even pay that much attention to.
Yeah, those are all great ideas. Thinking, okay, what could happen? How can we mitigate this and prevent it from ever taking place? Very, very good. How have your student athletes responded? Because kids, they watch basketball games on ESPN, they watch the pro level, they see how fans or college students do certain things. How have your student athletes responded to what you and your coaches are trying to model?
I think very well. I mean, we want them to have personalities on the court. We do. We don't want them to be so like, soldiers and not have a person. We want them to have personalities. We want them to enjoy what they're doing. It's just you got to know the time and the place to do it. And I think that's just a lot of teaching them as they get older. I mean, here, if you're up by 50, you don't need to celebrate they would, a shot as you would if you're up by two. So, I mean, those things are all part of athletics, and that's why I love it so much. They're teaching them real life situations that are going to help them when they get to this corporate world. of, how to handle situations, how to handle pressure, how to handle defeat. That is why I'm just such a component of high school athletics, because without this, I don't think a lot of us would be where we are today.
Oh no, absolutely right. I definitely echo that sentiment. Korie, this has been very cool spending some time with you, get to know you a little bit better, but we're not done yet. We always wrap up with the athletic director's toolbox. Now, you certainly showed today, you know your way around the world of athletics, but we're going to take our final break, hear from Athletic Surveys, who sponsored this segment. And when we come back, I'm going to challenge you to send out a brand new athletic director on their very first job. But I'm only going to let you put 3 items in the toolbox. So let's take that break. When we come back, we're going to see what Korie puts into her new athletic director toolbox. Please stay with us. We want to thank Athletic Surveys for sponsoring the AD Toolbox segment. Athletic directors already get feedback, but a lot of times it's from a very small group that only wants to complain. Athletic Surveys is going to connect you with that group so you can hopefully address their concerns, but they're also going to connect you with the 98% that supports your program. And having that data is incredibly valuable, especially when you're visiting with a frustrated parent, or maybe your principal, or even your school board. Go to athleticsurveys.com. They're going to create a custom survey that lets you take the pulse of everybody in your program. That's athleticsurveys.com. Well, it's that time of the podcast. We've been visiting today with Korie Morton-Rozier. She's a certified athletic administrator, longtime AD, and the director of athletics at Oakland Catholic High School, and that's in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Korie, what are you going to put into your new athletic director toolbox to help that new AD have some success?
Um, I have three things, and I would say the first one would be communication. I think they need to understand how to communicate with parents, student athletes, and administration, whether it be a chancellor, a school board, a president, always keeping them informed, being honest with your communication. That would be my first, is communication. Second would be safety and security. I think the scope of athletics is changing, and there's a lot of things that can happen, whether it's with the fans, the parents in the stands, but you always have to be prepared with police and a exit plan, and even with the trainers and someone having a heart attack, like you got to have all those things already done. And then my third would be technology. Athletics have changed a lot, and you definitely need to stay up to date with all the technology that comes along with it, with the social media, the game reports, and being relevant on all of the social medias to give your athletes as much positive publicity as possible. Those would be my three.
Wow, I love them all. Communication is, from year to year, it's either number one or number two.
Hmm.
Love the tech focus, but safety and security. I mean, everybody knows that is, that's truly a no-brainer. I'm gonna have to go back and look at the toolbox totals. I think that might be the only, or one of the few times it's ever been mentioned as a top three tool. And it certainly is. I mean, it's like I said, it's so critical. Um, one more time, if one of our listeners wanted to reach out and connect with you, add you to their network, or just pick your brain a little bit, and listeners, sounds like you got a great resource here. What's the best way they can get a hold of you?
I am on LinkedIn as Korie Morton-Rozier, and I will just give my email. It's KMortroz @gmail.com. That would be my Gmail. So yes.
And once again, Korie's on LinkedIn too.
Mhm.
Korie, thanks again for sharing with our listeners. All the best as we, continue with the holiday season, and we're gonna have to get you back on maybe in the spring to do an update, see how things are going at Oakland Catholic.
I would love that. Thank you.
For listeners, we appreciate you tuning in. And just a reminder, we upload the Zoom recordings of all of our interviews to the Educational AD Podcast YouTube channel. We do this just about every day. We share stories and best practices. So come back and join us again for the next episode of the Educational AD Podcast. We'll see you next time.